daily trémou. As he'd walked off that morning cradling Gus in his arms, Boot had followed, yipping and crying. John had forced himself not to console the pup. It was better if Boot turned to Billy for comfort. But the whole business left John feeling like a betrayer and a fink. All Vi's other pups, the ones they'd placed so far, were within 20 minutes' drive of the house where he and Mary lived in Hartford. But Boot would be far away, at the top end of the state. This pup, Gus, weighed upward of 20 pounds already, and the warm press of his body slowed John's heartbeat. He untied the string connecting his belt to Gus's collar and shifted the pup without waking him, and stood and whacked the dust off his trousers and walked into the road. He leveled his hand over his eyes. No dust plume of an approaching automobile, no dark shimmer of a man on horseback, just the road narrowing to a brown thread that disappeared beneath the long overhang of the northwoods forest. During her geography lessons, Miss Diffie, John's fifth-grade teacher, had impressed upon her students a trick of memory, one John habitually and almost unconsciously used on his many driving trips. "Make your right hand into a plank," she told them. "Palm up, fingers straight. That's Wisconsin." The Kissel had boiled over that morning on an unmarked dirt road near the top joint of his middle finger, 20 miles south of Lake Superior's rocky shore and 100 miles north of where, 10,000 years before, glaciers had ironed the state flat. He'd had no special reason to turn down this little side road. Side roads always looked interesting to John Sawtelle. He enjoyed getting lost, and he enjoyed finding his way back again. Gus bumbled out from beneath the Kissel and sat on the toe of John's boot, panting. "You're thirsty. I'm thirsty. The car's thirsty," John said. He tugged a leather cord to extract from his pocket the Webster chronograph he'd won in a bet. The design on its case involved hundreds of curves radiating outward from a central fleur-de-lis. 10 more minutes, he told the pup. "If no one comes along by then, we'll look for a creek." The pup looked at him. He peered around. "All right, make you a deal. See that rock?" "No, not my hand. Over there. If I can get all the way to that rock, we'll go now. Otherwise, we wait the full 10. Shake on it." "Hey, maybe you are a Gus." He rummaged in the back seat of the Kissel, produced a pair of work gloves, and put them on. He touched his toes. He windmilled his arms. "The trick is," he said. Then he pitched forward, planted his hands on the road, and let his feet rise into the air. Gus, who in his short life had never seen anyone do a handstand, circled John, growling and trying to lick his face. "Stop!" John gasped. He staggered about on his palms, locating his balance point. You're making me get out of the..." He wobbled through a full circle, trying to pick a reference point opposite his destination to steer by. He'd never figured out how to walk on his hands in the direction he was looking. Then let his knees bend and his feet drop slightly and went teetering off, with Gus following after, leaping downward and falling upward, sticking to the road with all 4 paws. He meant to go straight down the middle of the road, but with Gus jumping and licking and stones grinding into his palms, he journeyed instead toward the opposite shoulder, got a close look at a stand of upside-down milkweed, turned laboriously, and crossed 2 canyon-like ruts that he would rather have avoided. He wasn't even halfway to the rock, and his arms were trembling. Blood was ramming his eardrums. The Webster chronograph dropped out of his pocket and began thwacking fore and aft on its cord like a metronome, hitting him in the chest, then the kidneys. Gus kept trying to grab it. Every passing second, John had to dismiss the feeling that he was about to topple. He reached the rock, then passed several yards further down the road before he let his feet drop to the ground and rolled upright. With Gus snatching at his bootlaces, he paced off the distance back to the Kissel. 63 yards. He clapped the road dust off his gloves